Jai. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajataham Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sattvitam Sabatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Ratha Krishna Padaham Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj praise. First, I offer my respects unto the lotus feet of my initiating spiritual masters and the recruiting spiritual masters and advanced Vaishnavas. Next, I offer my obeisances to my Shastra Gurus, Srila Rupa Goswami, his elder brother, Srila Sanatan Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, and Srila Jiva Goswami. On a higher platform, I offer my respects unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came with his paraphernalia and associates, along with those great personalities, Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Acharya. And in the highest stage, I offer my obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Govinda, and all of the gopis headed by Lalita Devi and Vishaka Devi. Applying the soothing self of Sambandha Gyan, a proper acquaintance with environment, my spiritual master has opened my inner eye and thereby rescued me from the darkness of ignorance. Fulfilling my life's aspirations, I offer my respects unto Sri Gurudev. Vam cha kalpataruyascha kripa sindhuvya cha patitanam pavanevyo vaishnavevyo namo namaha. I bow down unto the holy feet of the pure Vaishnavas, who are like desired trees, able to fulfill all the devotees' aspirations. The Lord's devotees are comparable to a vast ocean of causeless mercy, as they deliver the fallen souls from material existence. I offer all respects unto them. Vindayai tulasi devyai priyayai kesavasya cha Krishna bhakti prayadevi satyavatya namo namaha. I eternally offer my respects unto Sri Vrindadevi, Srimati Tulasi Maharani, who is the dearmost object of Lord Keshava's affection. I bow down before Satyavati, who can bestow pure dedication unto Lord Krishna. Sakala Vaishnava Parimura Namaskar, Ite Kicha Parada Nahuka Amara, Oyachen Noiven Pravur Jakta Bhaktajan, Pandana Kuriyami Savara Charana. I respectfully bow to the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas, praying that there is no offense in my attempt to please them. To all Vaishnavas who have been and all Vaishnavas who shall be, I offer my obeisances to the Lord's feet. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishwabha Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishwabha Srila Bhakti Raka Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishwabha Srila Isi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanu Guru Varga Ki Jai. Dandavat, dear devotees, we're going to read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, Lila Volume 1. We have been reading Chapter 2, which is an auspicious vibration of that describes the absolute truth. That is how Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj has explained it. And we were reading about Sri Krishna, the original personality of Godhead. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Text 83. Krishnere Svayam Bhagavatai Haila Sadhya Svayam Bhagavan Nira Krishnadva Haila Badhyam. This establishes that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. The original personality of Godhead is therefore necessarily Krishna. Text 84. Krishna yadiyam shahitam Shri Narayana Tave viparita hita suttera vachana. Had Krishna been plenary portion and Narayana the primeval Lord, the statement of Sutta Goswami would have been reversed. Text 85. Narayanam Shriya Svayam Bhagavam Tenha Shri Krishna Aiche Karita Vyakyanam. Thus he would have said, Narayana, the source of all incarnations, is the original personality of Godhead. He has appeared as Sri Krishna. Text 86. Brahma Pramada Vipralipsa Karana Patava Arshabhigya Kena Hidoshai Sava. Mistakes, illusions, cheating, and defective perception do not occur in the sayings of the authoritative sages. And Srila Prabhupada is giving a purport over here. Srimad Bhagavatam has listed the avatars, the plenary expansions of the Purusha, and Lord Krishna appears among them. But the Bhagavatam further explains Lord Krishna's specific position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, reason and argument establishes that his position is always supreme. Had Krishna been a plenary expansion of Narayana, the original verse would have been differently composed. Indeed, its order would have been reversed. But there cannot be mistakes, illusion, cheating, or imperfect perception in the words of liberated sages. Therefore, there is no mistake in this statement that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Sanskrit statements of Srimad Bhagavatam are all transcendental sounds. Srila Vyasadeva revealed these statements after perfect realization, and therefore they are perfect for liberated sages, like Vyasadeva. Never commit errors in their rhetorical arrangements, unless one accepts this fact. There is no use in trying to obtain help from the revealed scriptures. Brahma refers to false knowledge or mistakes, such as accepting a rope as a snake or an oyster shell as gold. Pramada refers to inattention or misunderstanding of reality. And Vripalipsa is a cheating propensity. Karanapatava refers to imperfectness of the material senses. There are many examples of such imperfection. The eyes cannot see that which is very distant or very small. One cannot even see his own eyelid, which is the closest thing to his eye. And if one is disturbed by a disease like jaundice, he sees everything to be yellow. Similarly, the ears cannot hear distant sounds. Since the personality of Godhead and his plenary portions and self-realized devotees are all transcendentally situated, they cannot be misled by such deficiencies. Text 87. Piruddharta kahatumi kaite kararosha Tommararte amri abhimrista videyam shadosha. You say something contradictory and become angry when this is pointed out. Your explanation has the defect of a misplaced object. This is an unconsidered adjustment. Text 88. Yandra Bhagavata Haityanjira Bhagavata Svayam Bhagavam Shabdira Tahate Sata. Only the personality of Godhead, the source of all other divinities, is eligible to be designated as Svayam Bhagavan, or the primeval Lord. Text 89. Dipahaite Yaiche Bahu Diperaj Valana Mulaika Dipataha Kariye Ganana. When from one candle many others are lit, I consider that one the original. Purport, Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 46, states that the Vishnu Tattva, or the principle of the absolute personality of Godhead, is like a lamp because expansions equal their origin in all respects. A burning lamp can light innumerable other lamps, and although they will not be inferior, still the lamp from which the others are lit must be considered the original. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself in the plenary forms of the Vishnu Tattva, and although they are equally powerful, the original powerful Personality of Godhead is considered the source. This analogy also explains the appearance of qualitative incarnations like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, Shambho Suttamodishtat Natvat Kajalamaya Sukshma Dipashika Staniyasya Natatas Samyam. The Shambhu Tattva, or the principle of Lord Shiva, is like a lamp covered with carbon because of his being in charge of the mode of ignorance. The illumination from such a lamp is very minute. Therefore, the power of Lord Shiva cannot compare to that of the Vishnu principle. Text 90. Taiche savabate avatarera Krishna sekarana araika shloka shunna kuvyakya skandana. Krishna in the same way is the cause of all causes and all incarnations. Please hear another verse to defeat all misinterpretations. Texts 91 and 92. Atra sargo visargascha tanam poshanam uttayaha manvantaresha nukata nirodhamuktir ashrayaha dashamasya vishuddhi artam nabanam mihalakshanam parnayanti mahatmanaha jrutenartena chanjasa. Here, in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 subjects are described. Number 1, the creation of the ingredients of the cosmos. Number 2, the creations of Brahma. Number 3, the maintenance of the creation. Number 4, a special favor given to the faithful. Number 5, impetuses for activity. 6, prescribed duties for law-abiding men. Number 7, a description of the incarnations of the Lord. Number 8, the winding up of the creation. Number 9, liberation from gross and subtle material existence. And 10, the ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 10th item is the shelter of all the others. To distinguish this ultimate shelter from the other 9 subjects, the Mahajanas have described these 9, directly or indirectly, through prayers or direct explanations. Purport. These verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, verses 1 and 2, list the 10 subject matters dealt with in the next text of the Bhagavatam. Of these, the 10th is the substance, and the other 9 are categories derived from the substance. These 10 subjects are listed as follows. Number 1, Sarga, the first creation by Vishnu, the bringing forth of the 5 gross material elements, the 5 objects of sense perception, the 10 senses, the mind, intelligence, the false ego, and the total material energy or universal form. Second, Visarga, the secondary creation or the work of Brahma in producing the moving and unmoving bodies in the universe. Brahmanda. Number 3, Sthana, the maintenance of the universe by the personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Vishnu's function is more important and his glory greater than Brahma's and Lord Shiva's, for also Brahma is the creator and Lord Shiva the destroyer. Vishnu is the maintainer. Number 4, Poshana, special care and protection for devotees by the Lord, as a king maintains his kingdom and subjects, but nevertheless gives special attention to the members of his family. So the personality of Godhead gives special care to his devotees, who are souls completely surrendered to him. 5. Uti, the urge for creation or initiative power. That is the cause of all inventions, according to the necessity of time, space, and objects. 6. Month Antara, the periods controlled by the Manus, who teach regulative principles for living beings who desire to achieve perfection in human life. The rules of Manu are as described in the Manu Samhita, guide the way to such perfection. Ishanukata, a scriptural information regarding the personality of Godhead, his incarnations on earth, and the activities of his devotees. Scriptures dealing with these subjects are essential for progressive human life. 8. Nirodha, the winding up of all energies employed in creation. Such potencies are emanations from the personality of Godhead, who eternally lies in the Karana ocean. The cosmic creations, manifested with his breath, are again dissolved in due course. 9. Mukti, liberation of the conditioned souls encaged by the gross and subtle coverings of body and mind. When freed from all material affection, the soul, giving up the gross and subtle material bodies, can attain the spiritual sky in his original spiritual body, and engage in transcendental loving service to the Lord in Vaikuntha Loka or Krishna Loka. When the soul is situated in his original constitutional position of existence, he is said to be liberated. It is possible to engage in transcendental loving service to the Lord and become Jivan Mukta, a liberated soul, even while in the material body. Number 10. Ashraya, the transcendence, the summum bonum, from whom everything emanates, upon whom everything rests, and in whom everything merges after annihilation. He is the source and support of all. The Ashraya is also called the Supreme Brahman, as in the Vedanta Sutra, Atato Brahma Jigyasa Janmari Asi Jataha. Srimad Bhagavatam especially describes the Supreme Brahman as the Asraya. Shri Krishna is this Asraya, and therefore the greatest necessity of life is to study the science of Krishna. Jaya. So we just read the 10 different subjects described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Above those 10, do you remember any of those 10? So they were the creation of the ingredients of cosmos, creations of Brahma, maintenance of creation, a special favor given to the faithful, impetuses for activity, prescribed duties for law-abiding men, a description of the incarnations of the Lord, the winding up of the creation, liberation from gross and subtle material existence, and 10, the ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, what was that? Those are the 10 subjects described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And among those 10, the last one is the most important. The greatest necessity of life is to study the science of Krishna. And that is what that 10th subject is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why it's the shelter of all the others. Srimad Bhagavatam accepts Sri Krishna as the shelter of all manifestations because Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the ultimate source of everything, the supreme goal of all. Two different principles are to be considered herein, namely Asraya, the object providing shelter, and Asrita, the dependents requiring shelter. The Asrita exists under the original principle, the Asraya. The first 9 categories described in the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, from creation to liberation, including the Purusha avatars, the incarnations, the material energy or living entities, and the external energy or material world, are all Asrita. The prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam, however, aim for the Asraya Tattva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, the great soul's expert in describing Srimad Bhagavatam, have very diligently delineated the other 9 categories, sometimes by direct narrations and sometimes by indirect narrations such as stories. The real purpose of doing this is to know perfectly the absolute transcendence, Sri Krishna, for the entire creations, both material and spiritual, rest on the body of Sri Krishna. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki Jai, Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj ki Jai, Jai Srila Jai Om Vishnupada Srila Isi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. And now we're going to read Centenary Anthology, Pastimes, Glories and Teachings of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktiraka Gurudev Goswami Maharaj. So, we were reading the pastimes when Srila Guru Maharaj joined the Gaudiya Math, when he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was very happy when he realized, seeing his future guru, his future godbrothers, engaged in service, in preaching service. All right. Every year in August, we had to come back to the Calcutta Math celebration for 1 month. So when I came back here, I was taken by Shripad Bhakti Hirdai Bon Maharaj and Sri Hayagriva Prabhu. Later, Shripad Bhakti Dayita Madhava Maharaj in a party towards Madras side, installing the footprints of Mahaprabhu. Then again, upon returning, the Bazaar Math was opened, and from the original rented house in Old Tadanga, the deities were moved in procession in a chariot to Bazaar Math, and a 1-month festival was held there. After that, Prabhupada went on that year establishing and installing those Parapita up to Mangal Giri near Bejoy Kovur and so on. Then he went to Madras and declared the opening of Madras Gaudiya Math and put us there. He rented a house. Shripad Bon Maharaj was the leader and the senior sannyasi. In the meantime, I was given sannyas, recommended by Shripad Bon Maharaj. He said about me, he can preach well. He's a good preacher, rather than a canvasser. I had a B.A. and I was known as Sri Ramendra Sundar Bhattacharya. B.A., my duty was to approach the people and introduce the sannyasis, and more or less I had the work of a canvasser. But Shripad Bon Maharaj said, he's not a good canvasser, but a good preacher. He can speak Harikatha very well. Then I was given sannyas in October 1930. And after installing footprints of Mahaprabhu one by one in various places, Prabhupada opened the mat in Madras, as above mentioned, and we were left there and began preaching for 3 years or so. Then there was Vrindavan Parikrama, circumvallation of the whole of Vrindavan. We joined the program, and then Shripad Bon Maharaj went to England for preaching, and I was in charge of Madras Mat. The temple was constructed almost in my time. Later, Bombay Mat was opened, and I was again taken there. I lived there for some time, and later was taken with a general party with Prabhupada. Staying most of the time with Prabhupada, we preached in different places of Bengal at 5:30 a.m. on 1st January 1937. Prabhupada left the world. Before this, Prabhupada had wanted me to go for preaching to London, but I said, I am not fit for this. I can't follow their accent, and I don't have the tendency to mix. Before this, Prabhupada had wanted me to go for preaching to London, but I said, I am not fit for this. I can't follow their accent, and I don't have the tendency to mix with them very closely. So you will spend money to send me, but I won't be able to show any satisfactory result. Of course, if you order me, I must go, but I'm just informing you what I am. Then he sent Sri Yukta A.V. Goswami Prabhu. Later, Sripad Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj instead of me. When Prabhupada became ill, I attended his sickbed. Just one day before his departure, he called for me, and he asked me to chant Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. At that time, I was not accustomed to leading the kirtan. I was hesitating. Sri Yukta Kunja Babu, later Sripad Bhakti Bilasti Tirtha Maharaj, asked one Brahmachari Prabhu, you go on singing. Then he began singing. But Prabhupada felt dissatisfaction. He said, I don't want to hear the tone or sweet sound. Then that Brahmachari Prabhu stopped, and I had to sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. And the other said, Prabhupada has hereby given you admission to the Rasa Seva section. About 1 year before this, I composed a Sanskrit poem about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Prabhupada was very happy with this. When I first read it to him, he remarked, a very happy style. Next, I heard he said to Sripad Shauyuti Maharaj, this poem is so fine, it is not written by him, it is written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself, and has come out through him. It is so appreciable. Once he said to Sri Yukta Pakrita Prabhu, I am satisfied that what I came to say will remain after me. I find in this shloka, the Siddhanta, perfect theological conclusion. Shri Gauranumatam Svarupa Viditam Rupagrajenadritam Rupadhyai Paribeshitam Raguganai Asvaditam Sevitam Jibadyer Abhirakshitam Shuka Shiva Brahmadi Samanitam Sri Ratha Pada Sevanamritam Aho Tadatu Mishu Bhavan. That which is the gracious gift of Sri Gaurachandra, the deep internal purport of which is known by Sri Svarup Damodar, that which is adored by Sri Sanatana Goswami and distributed by the Rasa Tattvacharyas headed by Sri Rupa Goswami, that which is tasted and enriched by Sri Raghunath Das Goswami and followers, and tenderly protected by Sri Jiva Goswami and his company, and that which is venerated from afar by the great personages like Mahadev, Lord of the gods, and Brahma, grandfather of the world. Aho, marvel of marvels, that ecstatic nectar of the exclusive service of the lotus feet of Sri Radha, you hold the perfect position to mercifully give even that to us. That was the Bengali. Well, I'm not sure if it's Bengali or Sanskrit, but this verse was composed, it was a Sanskrit verse composed. It was a Sanskrit poem composed by Srila Guru Maharaj about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that it was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur who spoke, who wrote this through Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Before this, also, I wrote an article for the spiritual newspaper Nadia Prakash, and Prabhupada remarked to Sriman Raman Maharaj, who was the editor, if you can gather this type of article to publish in your paper, the standard of your paper will be raised. Such articles are desirable to be published. Anyhow, he appreciated my understanding and realization. There are many other instances. Myself, I heard that Srila Prabhupada praised you as Shastra Nipuna. Who asked this question? Tridandi Bhikshu Sri Beyai Sagar Maharaj. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj replied, oh, in Madras, in the Gaudiya. In the Gaudiya Mat Leading's weekly paper, there was published one Siddhanta. The birthday of Srimati Vishnu Priya Devi and the birthday of our Guru Maharaj were mistakenly transposed. Both are Panchami. Panchami means fifth lunar day. Srimati Vishnupriya Devi's is on Panchami of the bright moon fortnight, and Prabhupada's is on the Panchami of the dark moon fortnight. But they were transposed. Prabhupada to the bright fifth and Srimati Vishnupriya Devi to the dark fifth. I read it carefully, and I thought the basis of the philosophy was wrong. Why has Krishna Shakti come on the bright moon and Gaura Shakti on the dark moon? I found it should be just the opposite. We'll continue reading this tomorrow. We have a couple pages to finish this part number 1. And then we will move on into part number 2, which we're going to start reading in a more condensed way, Srila Guru Maharaja's holy teachings. So far it was like the part number 1. We were just reading the pastimes and glories of Srila Guru Maharaj. But once we make it to part number 2, we're going to start worshipping his teachings. Jaya Centenary Anthology Ki Jai. Jai Srila Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. I think today is a special day. Today is October 11th, and is the Krishna Panchami, disappearance of Srila Narottam Thakur. So, let's go to the MAD website to see if we can read something about Srila Narottam Thakur. There is an extensive writing about Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and we're going to go ahead and read it. In praise of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Today is the disappearance day of Srila Narottam Thakur, so I would like to say a few words to glorify him. Before Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, most of the Vaishnava songs came from Srila Narottam Thakur. Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakati Sadma. You all know. This is from Narottam's Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Partana. But although he wrote many beautiful songs of devotion, Narottam Das Thakur was not just a songwriter, he was a great pandit. And more than that, he was a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Dev. When Mahaprabhu traveled to Ramakeli, on the way, he had crossed the river Padma. While on the banks of the river, he began to call, Narottam, Narottam, Narottam. The devotees could not understand the meaning at that time, but later, it was revealed that from that part of Bengal, a great devotee will appear, and his name will be Narottam. Sriman Mahaprabhu had left a great treasure stored in the waters of Padma Devi for Narottam, Krishna Prema. After many years, Narottam Das Thakur appeared in the village of that area, known as Keturi. He was a prince, the only son of Raj Krishnananda Datta and Rani Narayani Devi. Narottam was enlightened even from his early childhood, and one day he had a dream in which Nityananda Prabhu instructed him, "Go to the river Padma and take your bath there because Mahaprabhu has left his gift of Krishna Prema for you within her waters." Narottam immediately awoke and went to the river and entered the water. While bathing, he experienced the divine form of Mahaprabhu embracing him, and Krishna Prema entered into his being. He became transformed, and just like Mahaprabhu himself, he began crying, dancing, laughing, and constantly chanting the names of Krishna, and suddenly, Ashta Satvika Pabha, the 8 symptoms of ecstasy and love of Krishna, appeared in his body. Upon returning home, Narottam's mother began to question, "Oh, my son, what has happened to you? Why are you crying and behaving in this peculiar way? Please, if I can help in any way, I am ready to do anything. I am even ready to give up my life if that will help you. Tell me what I can do." Narottam replied, "Mother, last night I went to the river Padma, inspired by a dream, and there's someone who I believe was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced me and entered into my heart. Now I'm feeling great sadness and separation from that Mahaprabhu and from Sri Krishna Chandra, and that is what causes me to cry. If you wish to show your kindness to me, please give me permission to go to Vrindavan, where I shall search for Mahaprabhu." After hearing Narottam's petition, his father became worried, fearing that his son would leave home, and so, just like the father of Raghunath Das Goswami, he arranged some guards to watch Narottam. Narottam remained in the house, chanting, dancing, and writing devotional songs, and always manifesting the 8 symptoms of divine ecstasy. Narottam was restless, always crying for Mahaprabhu and Krishna. Since the day he took his bath in the river, his body had changed from his dark complexion, and he had become the same golden color of Mahaprabhu. Radharani's color had come into his body, and everyone was greatly surprised, saying, "Yes, it is true, Narottam has received Krishna Prema from Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu is really living in his heart." Everyone has offered him respect, but his father was becoming more and more worried. One day, when his father had gone to pay taxes on behalf of the state and had traveled far away, Narottam went to his mother crying in great anguish and again petitioned her, "Mother, please give your permission. I must go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates who are living in Vrindavan. It is the order of Nityananda Prabhu, so please arrange for me to go." Narottam's mother made the arrangements, and in secret, Narottam left his home and went to Vrindavan. Narottam had been having many dreams in which Mahaprabhu instructed him to go to Vrindavan and take shelter of the lotus feet of his confidential devotee Srila Lokanath Das Goswami, who would give him diksha to him. He also told Narottam to find Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami, and Srila Jiva Goswami, and to keep their holy association. After arriving in Vrindavan, Narottam found that Rupa and Sanatan had already left the world, but he found there Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Lokanath Das Goswami, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, and many other great Vaishnavas who gave him their company. Narottam became the student of Jiva Goswami and petitioned Lokanath Goswami to give him diksha. Lokanath refused him. Lokanath Goswami had decided that he would never accept any disciples and lived in an extremely austere way in Vrindavan, living under a different tree every night. Narottam felt great sadness upon being refused by Srila Lokanath, and he told him, "I can only take my initiation from you. Sriman Mahaprabhu has told me that you will give me diksha, so until then I will wait." Narottam tried to serve his guru, but the Goswami would allow no one to serve him. Narottam thought, if he will not even stay under the same tree for more than one night, then what kind of service can I do for him? After a while, Narottam noticed that Srila Lokanath Prabhu would always go to the same place to pass his stool, and he began to think that although Lokanath had refused to give him any service for over 2 years, if he could clean that place every day, then at last he would have some service. Narottam was fixed in his resolve that he must take Diksha from Srila Lokanath Goswami, and this was the order of Mahaprabhu. Very soon Lokanath Goswami began to notice, I come here every day to pass a stool, and it seems that someone is cleaning this place after me. Who can be doing this? So one night from a hidden place, Lokanath saw that at midnight Narottam is coming and very happily cleaning that place. Lokanath knew that Narottam was the son of the famous king Krishnananda Datta. He was greatly astonished and confronted Narottam. Why are you, a prince of high noble birth, coming each night and cleaning this dirty place? And Narottam replied, Prabhu, I need your mercy. Without your mercy I cannot live. Your vow is that you will not accept any disciples, but by the order of Srimad Mahaprabhu, it is my vow that I must have your connection. I don't know when you will give me your mercy, but you must accept me as your disciple. So after refusing Narottam 18 times, finally Srila Lokanath Das Goswami took Narottam Das and gave him Diksha. Narottam received instruction from Srila Jiva Goswami. Narottam received instruction from Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, and many other Goswamis who were there in Vrindavan. He was a great Pandit, and all the devotees headed by Sri Jiva, recognizing his qualification, bestowed upon him the title of Thakur. Narottam Thakur's close associates and peers were Shyamananda and Srinivas, from the inspiration of Srila Jiva Goswami and the other Vaishnavas. These three great devotees were sent back to Bengal to continue the preaching of Mahaprabhu. The Bengali Vaishnavas were very eager to read the writings of Sri Rupa, Sanatan, Raghunath, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Lokanath Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Prabodhananda Saraswati, and the other Goswamis. So Narottam, Shyamananda, and Srinivas traveled from Vrindavan towards Bengal with many copies of those great books. Finally, they arrived in Vishnupur, in the district of Birbhum, Bengal. The king of this region was Raja Bir Hambir, but he was a dacoit bandit and was engaged in many robberies in the area. The king had a Brahmana astrologer, and according to the astrologer's calculations, he will know where and when to carry out his next robbery. The astrologer informed the king that on a particular road, bullock carts would be passing, carrying many precious jewels. So the jubilant king sent his dacoits to rob the caravan. While Narottam and the Vaishnavas slept, the king's dacoits stole away the chests containing the books of the Goswamis. After much searching, Narottam, Srinivas, and Shyamananda in great sorrow could not trace the books. Srinivas ordered Narottam to return to Keturigram, and Shyamananda went to Midnapur, where they began preaching. Srinivasacharya resolved to stay and try to find the stolen books. Srinivas heard that in the assembly of Raja Bir Hambir, that night a great Pandit will give explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Brahmana in whose house Srinivas was staying invited Srinivas to accompany him to the meeting. Srinivas agreed. After hearing the Pandit's explanation of the Bhagavatam, Srinivas addressed Raja Bimhambir saying, Srimad Bhagavatam is not child's play. It is a transcendental knowledge descended to this earth for our super benefit, and the explanation given by this man is intolerable. He obviously knows nothing of the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Raja Birhambir was greatly surprised at Srinivas' exclamation and asked him, Then can you explain the Bhagavatam? Yes, I can, replied Srinivas, and taking his seat on the Vyasasan, he spoke for several hours. All those that heard him became greatly moved, and they all, including the king, took shelter of his lotus feet. The king humbly approached Srinivas. Prabhu, you are indeed a great Vaishnava. Please tell me what service I can do for you. Where have you come from? How far have you traveled? Srinivasacharya told him, I have come from Vrindavan, carrying chests of books written by the Goswamis. but now they are lost, stolen by I know not who. So I remain here searching for them. With his head bowed, Raja Birhambir announced, I am the culprit. I have those books in my home, and every day I have been worshipping them. My astrologer told me that his calculations were true and that the books were actually jewels, although they were in form of books. And so that is why every day I'm offering puja. And then the king took Srinivas to the books. The news was sent to Narottam and Shamananda, and in great jubilation Narottam Thakur arranged a grand festival, as well as Narottam, Shamananda, Srinivas, and other noted Vaishnavas. Mother Janavi Devi, Sri Nityananda Prabhu Shakti, also came there to Keturi, Gram, to attend the festival. After properly worshipping Janava Devi, Narottam Thakur installed 6 deities in different temples: Sri Krishna, Balyavi Kanta, Braj Mohan, Radha Kanta, Radha Raman, and Gauranga. Elaborate puja arrangements were made, including a month-long festival of Hari Kirtan. And every day in Narottam's Kirtan, those who were fortunate saw Nityananda Prabhu's and Mahaprabhu's dancing there. Such was Narottam's devotion. Those who knew him considered he was the incarnation of Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu's combined. Although Lokanath Goswami only had one disciple, Narottam gave Krishna Prema to everyone, and just like Nityananda Prabhu, he did not consider who was fit and who was not. Whoever wanted Krishna Prema, then Narottam would give it to them. He was given this special power by the grace of Mahaprabhu, Nityananda and Lokanath Goswami, Narottam's Gurudev. Narottam Das Thakur was born in the Kayasta community and caused a great deal of controversy by accepting disciples who were from the Brahmana caste. The Brahmana section were very angry with him and tried repeatedly to defeat him in debate, but the only result was that more Brahmanas were becoming his disciples. Oh my God. The Brahmanas were very unhappy, and when in his last years Narottam manifested much sickness, the Brahmanas declared that this was the result of Narottam violating the scriptural injunctions by accepting disciples from a higher caste than his own. Gradually, Narottam's condition became worse, and finally he died. The Brahmanas were jubilant and began celebrating Narottam's passing as proof of his offenses to their community. Narottam's disciples were heartbroken and prayed before their Gurudev's body, O Prabhu, you have shown this Lila of your passing in this way, and the Brahmanas are committing offense to your lotus feet because they cannot understand. Lord, what shall we do now? Surely all the preaching will be ruined if you show this kind of passing Lila. Please show your mercy to these misguided Brahmanas. Suddenly Narottam returned to his body and sat up, and upon seeing this miracle, the opposition surrendered to his lotus feet. Some months later, Narottam was exhibiting intense symptoms of separation from Radha and Krishna. And so again he left this world. His body turned into milk and merged with the waters of the holy river Ganges. In this way, Narottam Das Thakur preached Krishna consciousness, and from him the preceptorial line is coming to Vishwanath Chakravarti. Narottam wrote many songs of devotion, and Prema Bhakti Chandrika is very famous in this world amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Today is his holy disappearance day, and we pray for his grace upon us all. Jai Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Narottam Das Thakur ki Jai. All right. We're going to chant Nama Sankirtan Hari Haraye. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Chimadusudana Giridhari Gopinata Madana Mohana Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatana Vata Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Vata Dasa Raghunatha Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana Jahoite Vinana Shavista Purana Echai Gosai Jara Muitaradasa Tasavara Pada Renu Mora Panchagrasa Tadira Charana Sevi Vaktasanivasa Janame Murae Avilasa Echai Gosai Jave Vraje Koilavasa Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasha Annandevolo Hari Vaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Parimajai Jamana Shri Guru Vaishnava Para Padma Koriyasa Hari Nama Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gura Hari Bol Nitai Gura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gura Hari Bol Jai Mizapa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Mizapa Srila Bhakti Raka Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Mizapa Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Shri Rupa Anuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Jai Shri Radha Krishna Ki Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Jai Kolkartals Ki Jai Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Om Dandavat.